right, so welcome to the Game Lounge, and I wanted to do this local recording. First of all, this is the first recording that I've got the Kodi interface, and what I mean by that is the Kodi version 17 release candidate 3 is what I'm using. So I'm not really testing it out. I'm probably going to stick to release candidate or Kodi version 17 for probably several years based on what I like about the client next PVR, being able to connect to it. Couldn't really reach out to the next PVR team to submit bugs. I'm kind of saddened by that, so I'm going to do it through the Kodi interface, through the Kodi community. I tried to submit a post and show them what I use their product for. Maybe they took it as spam, I guess. So they said, let's try to log in, and they said, no, you violated the community rules, your account's banned for a lifetime. And I said, well, that's try to create a new one, reach out to them, say, hey, it's a link to my YouTube channel. I'm not spamming you to go hit the like button. I'm telling you what I use your product for. But regardless, everything's good to go. And I want to actually talk about Super Mario Odyssey. I'm not really going to deep dive into the Switch itself. However, I kind of will, because there's a lot of people talking about the Switch. I'm probably going to do quite a few more commentaries tonight. I will go over what's powering the Twitch. I think a lot of gamers are wondering what's powering the Switch. What's powering the Nintendo Switch? But let's go over this trailer. It's very, very interesting. These are my comments on this trailer for and as you can see, I'm not hiding behind another application. I'm showing you, I'm in the theater mode, so I like to show whose video these really are, right? So the other thing is I'm not reviewing, i.e. this is not a review of the game. I don't have the game. Even if I had it, it's not a review to say, hey, look, I'm gonna badmouth someone else's video or anything like that. These are just my thoughts on it. And so off the bat, let's just go back. I read in a comment, I read somewhere where they basically said it's like a light switch. It's like, hey, a flick of the switch, and then the Nintendo Switch just kind of that's what that is. You turn the switch on or you switch it off. So that concept I don't understand yet, but doesn't matter. I mean, but what's interesting to note is they use something so simple nobody really thought of. Switch it off, switch it on, 1 or 0, switch. Brilliant. I thought it was brilliant. So that's how it starts. It starts with what's that, in an up position, and I think it represents the controller. If you look at it closely, the dots and the logo. So the two dots are the thumbsticks, so it's actually the controller. And all you do is you switch it. Basically, you switch it from a mobile to a console. Now, I didn't know what to think. I'm gonna stop there. I didn't know what to think when Mario popped out of the freaking the ground like that. I had no idea. I mean, we knew it was a Super Mario game, but we didn't know that Mario would pop out of the sewer like that. You know, the thing is that is extremely fitting for Super Mario, because the first arcade game was he was in a sewer. So I think that's what this represented to me. The very first arcade game that was played, Super Mario was, or Mario and Luigi were in the sewer, and you had to like hit the turtles twice, and you know, hit all the various enemies twice to win. This is him now saying, "I'm out of the sewer. I'm coming up top." So I like that. I like that. The other thing I liked, and I'm gonna just slide it back a little bit if I can. If you see in the background, it says New Donk City. New Donkey City, or New Donk City. Probably a shout out to maybe New Jack City. But this is, or New York City, not New Donk City, New York City. So this is Super Mario's New York. You can see all the people. And it's funny, Mario is like a character. So all the people are actual people in New York. And Mario is like, you know, 3 inches tall, you know, or 2 inches tall or something like that. So pay attention to that hat. That was something different too. Now, that's just suicide, but you can obviously see from this shot right here, I kind of stopped, and of course, you know, I looked at it before. He's jumping off of the building. If you did that in Super Mario Galaxy, you're dead. I don't care where you are, you're gone. You're dead meat. And I kind of like this concept, and you can see this is obviously a Mario game where everything is 3D. Like, you can see what he needs to get is in a 3D, and it's on top. You can see the coins on the building far to the left, but he's obviously jumping off to another building. So you go from building to building. I imagine with this game, it's gonna be a while, and it scales. I like how it scales. So that's awesome. Let's just keep going here. Now, he has a ship. So we don't know, you know, I really don't know what world this is, but this looks like he has a ship. He's hopped on this ship. He's going somewhere. So on, you know, this is Mario, so you know, they can do whatever they want. It's a video game. But we don't know what world this is, you know. Now, I'm halfway into this, so this is why I stopped it. First of all, I'm gonna back up real quick. I'm gonna go to about right here. No, about right here. Beautiful scene. Beautiful scene. I thought it was a very, very just beautiful scenery. And regardless of the design, I thought it was extremely, you know, for a mobile hybrid device. I was thinking about this part right here. I'm like, man, this has got to be, this is a lot of processing. And my new thought is today, APIs do the work. You can have this thing. This is my phone. You can have this as a console, And all you really need is the API, the application programming interface, to drive the game. Don't know what they use to program it. That'll never be told. But I thought about that, and then I thought about looking at, real quick, the inner workings of the Switch. So I'm gonna go to the left on this game for a second. And I know they mentioned a custom Tegra processor. They didn't say what. They were like, it's a custom Tegra processor. So when you hear a lot of people talk about the Switch right now, they're just going to speculate. They're going to talk. They're going to say, hey, I love this console, but if you really want to understand what's going on right now with the Switch, I took you to this page. This is NVIDIA's page. So this is the Tegra X1, and this is the Tegra K1. This is prior to. I used to have actually a Tegra 3, right? They don't even show the Tegra 3 on their home page. Tegra 3 was in mostly tablets, phones, but in particular, the Tegra K1 was based on, they changed how they did this. It was based on the Kepler. You're probably wondering, you know, the words Kepler and Maxwell, right? But these are NVIDIA's names for their graphics technologies, that's all. So these are just names, all right? But the specs between the K1 and the Tegra X1, first of all, it's Maxwell. So I deduced that this has to be the custom NVIDIA Tegra CPU and GPU, the central processing unit and the graphics processing unit. So I'm also talking as if you don't understand. All right, so big difference. This particular K1 processor does not support Vulkan, DirectX 12, OpenGL. You see what I'm getting at? So I'm gonna go back to the X1. Massive difference. And for a lot of you that think, oh, this thing only has 6 hours of battery power. Oh, it's 720p. Oh, well, look at this. First of all, Vulkan, the API. If you never played Doom and you ran it in the Vulkan mode, they demonstrated it, and you're talking about 200 frames per second. 200 frames per second. Vulkan is driven by DirectX 12. Somewhat. Well, I could say the other way around, really. DirectX 12 is driven from Vulkan. Vulkan, here's the funny thing about Vulkan. It's multi-platform. Vulkan can be used anywhere. It can be used here. Vulkan can be used in my Apple iPod. It can be used in my Alienware Alpha. It can be used in my computer, my Windows 10. It can be used in Linux. It can be used in PlayStation 4. It can be used in PlayStation 3. It can be used in the Xbox One, the Wii U, you see, so the 3DS. Vulkan is a beast. Vulkan is a very powerful API. And it really blows away all the rest of these. The only difference is, this is everything. DirectX 12, which is Microsoft games. So Microsoft-based games, you can play on it can decode, and you can play seamlessly with the Tegra X1. Of course, your OpenGL, your NVIDIA CUDA, AEP. You're probably looking at this one. All right, this is a little bit different. If I'm correct about this AEP, I think this is VR. I think this is VR technology. And I'm not quite sure. I'm using one hand, by the way. There it is. Okay, I could be wrong about that. Completely wrong about it. Never mind. So you're talking about Android. Look at that. Okay. I completely thought it was something different. See, there's another technology NVIDIA has where it's virtual, and it's, I guess that because it uses a graphics card, you're able to actually take 360 snapshots, and then you can actually use it in a virtual headset or something. But this is basically talking more like Android. So we're talking about this little guy. The games from this guy ported over to the Switch. Enough said about that. Enough said. Back to this guy real quick. H265. Again, a lot of people think, hey, I already had some questions about, I'm going to skip the CPU because that takes a little more understanding. Might take up a little more time. But the H265 online gameplay means, to me, if I want to connect at 720p today with H264 with good video, I would need about 2500 kilobits per second. But with H265, being that it's hardware compressed even further, I would probably only need about 10 to 1200 kilobits per second. That's less than half of what it takes to push video across. And video comes across in chunks of blocks, if you didn't know. So that's less than half of the bandwidth. And this is why I skipped the CPU, because it uses the CPU to travel across the network. It uses the horsepower of the CPU. You can see that it's ARM, ARM. Quad core. It's a computer. Where we think Breath of the Wild, for instance, might use 6 hours. Breath of the Wild might use, I would say 8 to 10 hours. Maybe with some firmware updates down the road. 8 to 10 hours of gameplay with the battery. Or if it's 6 hours total with H265 online gameplay, you could probably play for a good 4 hours. 4 hours online. Recharge it for the next one. It's impressive, man. And of course, 20 nanometers. SoC means system on a chip. I won't explain these two. Again, that's going to take more time. Isolated power rails, you're talking about the power that it uses to basically, you're talking about your sleep states. You're talking about different P states. So I'm not gonna talk about that. Different power states that it can use. So it might not use when you play the game. It might not use so much power to play a game. It might take a lot of power to do a firmware update or a software update, but it might take less power, which I presume it does. When I play a game, when I stream, a lot of times my CPU might be only 25% if I play a game. So that power state changes. But if I have to do a firmware upgrade, it's going to go to 100% because it needs that much power to upgrade. And with that much power, it could reduce the amount of battery. So the best thing to do, it's probably going to say you need to charge the switch to full power before you do a firmware upgrade, if you've never known that. The last one on the bottom, you can see, and this is, I'm still talking about Super Mario here. I wanted to switch off and show you about some of the inner workings of why you're getting this beautiful video I was talking about, 4 and 2K. HDMI 2.0 and HDCP 2.2. So we're talking about high definition content protection. I use a hoppage, and I said I use a hoppage because it uses HDCP. Don't know what version it uses, but it uses HDCP. So I'm going to look up HDCP 2.2. A lot of your TVs might say that, might not say that. All right. HDCP, and I'm going to break it down as simple as this. Here's why I'm not using the Elgato HD60. It's probably better to either use a capture card or something that does not tell you to turn off HDCP so that it can stream your game or record your game. Right here. It's designed to prevent illegal copying of HD content. If you've never seen a stream being hijacked, you should Google it. Someone can basically decrypt your stream, your content while you're playing, and record it. Record what you're playing. So you're playing from the Switch to the TV, and then there's another device that splits it off, and then it's playing to a TV that's recording your content, and that's same as piracy, you know, in that manner. So that's why I went to the hoppage, because it maintains the encryption. Now, if you're wondering why you get such a beautiful game, I just explained to you a lot about what's powering the Switch to produce a game like Super Mario Odyssey. Let's continue and take a look at the rest of this game. The textures of the game, the graphics, the APIs that are being used. Look at this. This is crazy. This is crazy. He's freezing at night. Look at this. A black girl and a white girl. He's jumping rope. Now let me go back. Right there. I would have never thought that that's boiling water. It looked like maybe it's hot jello or fruit. But obviously it killed Mario, so we need to pay attention to that right there. It hurt him. Let's go back and look at this right here. He can now use his hat. He can now use his freaking hat. So his hat is now magically enchanted as an attack, not his fist anymore. Maybe his fists are, but now you can use his hat. That's awesome. I didn't catch that before. Not here. He uses his hat to extend the distance of his jump. So I didn't catch that before. I thought that was a very, very outstanding technique. Just look at this. You don't need a powerful console. All you need are application programming interfaces. Look at that. This is the work of NVIDIA, guys. Very impressive. Very impressive. That's all I'm saying about that. Very, very impressive game. The logo is perfect. Just look at how they got the earth, the hat, and it zipped around the Mario. And Mario is in different colors. They went back to how they should do it, which is cool. They didn't put any secrets in the name, you know, or in the letters. I thought that was like overkill, and I'm impressed. So there you have it. That's the first one I did. I didn't take a look at the rest of the games. I'll be doing a few more, but I thought that was a very, very good presentation by Nintendo, and we'll see how this goes. I like it, and especially with the Tegra. So I just wanted to explain to you on the technical side, maybe that someone else may not explain. But on the technical side, this thing is a heterogeneous beast. In other words, it's heterogeneous computing, and it's a beast. It's a mobile beast. I like it.